Usually I'm very connected to my guides. I can hear them, I can feel them,
Yes.
and I know they're still there.
Yes, of course they are.
But this year I experienced a lot of darkness, so one thing after another, and
Yes, all right. And
the biggest thing was feeling disconnected.
All right. And yet you know that you cannot be, yes?
Yes.
All right. You are using your connection to have an experience of disconnection.
Yes.
All right, but that means you're strong enough to handle it now. That's why they're taking the training wheels off.
Yes, so I'm curious now.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm learning a lot about the power of the darkness.
And the power of the light within you
Yes.
that can balance with the darkness to put you in the center point. That's what you're learning here.
Okay. So how can I use that understanding and apply it with other people? Like you were talking about before that you really have to explore it, right? So it's like
Yes.
some people need to change a belief, but other people, they need to experience that circumstance because it's benefiting them.
Well, how does your imagination say you could use this? How does your imagination say you could apply this in positive ways that you prefer in your life? How can you use this knowledge?
I guess realizing that no matter how much you don't know, you do know on some level.
You do. And the first thing you know is that you don't know everything.
Yes.
And therefore you're willing to stay in the center and let that knowledge flow through you
Yeah.
and allow yourself to know that by staying in the state you prefer, you will filter that energy and filter that knowledge in all sorts of positive synchronicities in your life. Yes?
And as you get more comfortable with that, or you
Yes.
understand that more,
Yes.
can you almost feel safety and comfort in the darkness?
Yes. I can put it to you this way, perhaps. When you get in touch with the darkness within yourself fully, you know no darkness can harm you because you're equal to it.
Wow.
To put it euphemistically in Earth terminology, no one is as much of a badass as me, so I don't have to worry about being accosted by badasses.
I like that a lot.
Do you understand?
Yes.
You are equal to the darkness. Therefore, darkness cannot touch you.
Wow, that's extremely helpful.
Yes, it is.
Okay. This is kind of a question, but more I want to know your opinion.
Yes.
So there's two very common ideas out there with spirituality.
Yes.
There's going with the flow, following your excitement.
Yes.
A lot more Bashar-y, if you will.
I think I've heard of him.
And then there's kind of the Elan perspective. Obviously, you know Elan.
Yes.
You're 100% creating your reality. You can create knowingness and tap into any reality at any given moment.
Yes, well, there's no difference between those two.
Can you explain that a little bit?
What's the difference that you're perceiving between them?
Okay, so for example, this year
Yes.
that I had this year of darkness,
Yes.
I didn't plan on it.
I'm not saying you had to plan on it, but you're obviously creating it for yourself.
But I don't feel as if I created it.
I don't care if you feel as if you did. You did. That's the point. You have to own it in order to be able to use it effectively. If you don't own it, if you deny that you had anything to do, if you're not responsible for creating it, how can you use it? You can't change what you don't own.
So is it just a difference of the level that I'm realizing I'm creating it? For example,
Yes.
I understand when I change a belief
Yes.
that the synchronicities that follow that, I'm creating that. I felt like I create that.
You have to know you're creating it whether you feel like you are or not, because there is no other way it could manifest in your life. You have to know that.
So what's the difference between, for example, if I stood here right now
Yes.
and I said, I want to be somewhere else.
Want
Okay.
is not need. That's your ego talking. Your ego saying, what's happening is not good enough. Invalidation. I want to be somewhere else. Why? Did you hear me earlier say there's nowhere more important than being here and now with what's happening?
Yes.
Then why would you want something else to happen unless you're invalidating what's happening?
And is that the same for your reality too? So
We
when
don't
you're-
invalidate, though. We understand that everything that we experience is part of our creation for serving us in the best possible way. We never question that, and therefore we always get the benefit of it. Remember, even if something manifests, you can recognize, you can objectively, neutrally recognize that what manifests may not be what you neutrally, objectively don't prefer. But that's not the same thing as judging it as invalid. And the idea is, if you understand that something has manifested that you objectively don't prefer, you still have to go back into knowing that still had to happen for a reason that does serve me. What could it be? So you start using what you don't prefer in a way that you do prefer, and therefore what you don't prefer has served you. Because that's got to be there for a reason. It's got to be there for your reason. If only to simply reinforce within you that you have the ability to use it negatively or positively. And sometimes you people will test yourselves. Have I really changed? Do I really understand how this works? Let's see. Let me manifest something I don't prefer and see if I respond positively or if I still react negatively, which means I haven't changed. So I tested myself and I have reacted in a way I don't prefer. Therefore, you have learned a valuable lesson. Therefore, it has served you in a positive way. That's how you need to look at it.
Yes.
It's not about what you want to be different. It's about how willing you are to use what you've manifested in the best possible way. Remember, please remember, or don't. It doesn't matter what happens. It only matters what you do with what happens. Would you like to repeat that? It doesn't matter what happens. It only matters what you do with what happens. That's it. Period. That's the entire secret of the instruction manual.
So I don't have to actively create my desires if I just follow the flow.
If you follow the flow, your needs will always manifest if they are relevant for who you truly are. There is nothing you need to do beyond that. The current of creation, your current in creation, already knows where you need to go. Surrender is not surrendering control. Surrendering is surrendering to the control that's already built into you. That's why you go with the flow. The current already knows where you need to go. You don't need to make things happen. Making things happen, believing that you need to make things happen, is resistance to the current. Everything that's relevant for you is already contained within the current's energy. Just go with the flow. Your life will unfold naturally. You will respond to it in a positive way. Synchronicity will abound. Everything that needs to happen in your life that's relevant for you to experience will happen in perfect timing. That's all there is to it. You don't need to make it work. The machine works. Let it work. Let it work. Don't stop it by thinking you know better what should happen here. No, you don't. Many of you have to get to the point where you finally have to admit to yourself, I have no bloody idea.
I experienced that.
All right, then go with that. That, as many people on your own planet say, is the beginning of wisdom, to know that you don't know.
Yeah.
But your higher mind does. Remember, your physical mind is only designed to experience what's happening. It doesn't have any other job. It's not capable of performing any other function. Your higher mind knows what needs to happen. And it speaks to you to let you know what needs to happen by manifesting its communication in you as passion. Because passion, you're willing to follow, except when you let negative beliefs stop you. So stop talking yourselves out of hearing your higher mind. That's all you have to do. Stop talking yourselves out of hearing and listening and following what your higher mind is doing to guide you by sending the communication of passion to you. Here it is, follow this, act on this now. Here it is, follow this, act on this now. Here it is, follow this, act on this now. No. I know better. I don't want to go that way. I want to go this way. Okay, higher mind says, go ahead, walk that path. Oops, look at that. She fell into a hole. I wonder why. I was going to guide her around it, but she insisted she knew better, so plop, there you go. Let me help you up out of the hole now, dust you off. Are you willing to listen to your passion now? No? Still stubborn? Okay, there's another hole over there. Go that way.
Yeah, I learned that one the hard way.
All right. But the point is, hard or not, you've learned it.
Yeah.
So use what you've learned. Don't ignore it.
Yes.
Let it be easy, because it is. The path of least resistance. Remember, again, analogy. Path, A to Z. Some people think it's got to be like this. Many paths are actually like this. Because those detours are necessary for you to learn what you need to learn so you can truly appreciate what's on the path, what the experience is all about. Plus, remember this. If this is not your path, it's not going to be the path of least resistance. If this is the path of least resistance, you're going to flow along this path much faster than you ever could on this path, because if this is not the path of least resistance, you're going to meet resistance. It's going to slow you down. You're going to be walking through molasses. Whereas this person taking what seems to be the longer route will actually move along it much more quickly because there's no resistance. Go with the flow. It knows where you need to go. Does this help?
Very helpful.
Thank you.
I'm just going to leave you with a joke that my friend has been dying to tell you.
Oh, I hope they're not really dying to tell you. But please
Silly,
do
so
share.
I hope it doesn't offend you.
Oh, nothing offends me, or I wouldn't be working with all of you. No offense.
Okay, the joke is,
Yes.
how far is Uranus from Asasani?
Are you going to provide the answer, or should I?
I'll let you.
No distance at all.
Thank you so much, Bashar. So grateful.
Thank you.
Good evening.
And to you, good day.
As humans, we tend to let the past define us, and
Stop. Would you like to change that?
we choose
Thank you.
to let the past define us.
Thank you.
And we choose to let the future steer and guide us.
Yes.
Can you go into a little more detail on some of the mechanics at work here that have us get stuck in these moments and have us holding on to these beliefs and refusing to let them go?
Yes. We have described this before. We will describe it briefly again. The mechanics literally have to do with beliefs that are in what you might call the wrong place. So, in other words, we've described to you the motivational mechanism. Have you heard us talk about this?
Yes.
Do you not understand it? That's the mechanism that you're asking about. The motivational mechanism. Do you understand it? Do you remember what it is?
Can you please expand on it?
I will take that then as a no.
Sure.
The motivational mechanism for all of you is this. This is a given. You will always, and I mean always, without fail, there are no exceptions, none of you, no exceptions, anywhere, at any time, ever, all of you will always move in the direction, act in the direction of what you believe is to your benefit. You will always move away from what you believe is not to your benefit. Once you understand that mechanism, then the logical questions follow. If I recognize that I am choosing things that I can see are not to my benefit, and I understand how the motivational mechanism works, that must mean, I must have a belief attached to that mechanism that makes what I know would be to my benefit appear not to be to my benefit. I must have a belief attached to it that makes what I know is not to my benefit seem more beneficial than the alternative. That's the mechanism. Therefore, when you find out what those beliefs are, you can see that they don't actually make any sense where you have placed them. And once they make no sense, they're gone, and you can then recognize that a different belief, a more positive one theoretically, will take its place in the proper order in the motivational mechanism, and there will be no more impediment. You will break through it. That's how it works. So it's about examining the beliefs you have about the past in relation to you, the beliefs you have about the future in relation to you, and finding out which ones don't work for you and creating ones that do, and then letting go of the ones that don't and implementing the ones that do. The motivational mechanism framework doesn't care what you place on it. It will work the same. It will always amplify what you say is to your benefit, always, even if it's not, because you're the one that's placed it in that position in the mechanism, making it seem more beneficial or less beneficial. You have to get the order in the way that works for you. Yes?
Right.
Is this making sense?
Indeed.
Is this answering your question?
It is, and I'm wondering if there are other, I guess, psychological or energetic components.
Of course there are,
Yeah.
but they're still all based on what you believe to be true.
Right, that's
It
the
all
foundation.
comes down to that, all of it. So it doesn't matter in what way you might express it psychologically. It doesn't matter in what way you might have been taught. The idea is you're telling yourself a story about yourself that doesn't work for you. Tell yourself a story that does. If along the way, because of the reflective mirror in the kit of excitement that reveals to you beliefs that don't work for you, which is its job, yes?
Yes.
So part of your excitement is to find out what is not your excitement. That's part of your excitement.
Yes.
So you can let it go and add the energy to your excitement. How exciting is that? Very. So when you proceed to the best you can in exploring these things, you will start to construct a different story that makes more sense to you about who you prefer to be in that story. Then you will start living that story and you will experience a different kind of life. You don't have to make it more complicated than that unless you believe you must. But if you're experiencing more complication than that, it's only because you've been taught to believe that you should. Remember, there is no such thing as an inherently difficult circumstance. Only your belief allows you to experience it that way. Everything is neutral, doesn't have built-in meaning. You give it meaning with your definitional belief, and it responds in kind because it doesn't have a choice to do anything else but reflect back what you have put out. That's the law. That's the nature of existence. It's the structure of existence. Physical reality doesn't exist outside you. It exists within you. It's a concept. It's a projection. It's a dream. There's nothing out here. Nothing. There actually is nothing at all. There is no outside, in a sense. It's not when I say there's nothing out here that there is still an out here with nothing in it. There is no out here for anything to be in. There is no out here for nothing to not be in. There is no out there. Out there. So,
From within to without.
it's just a reflection. Again, you know that when you look at your reflection in a mirror, You're not really over there. It's just a reflection. Is this helping?
Very much.
All right. Anything else that you would like some clarification on? Or do you feel that this is actually answering your question sufficiently?
It is. And what you've explained about time travel, shifting between realities,
Yes.
is, and especially with regard to the future, that seems easily understandable, especially with a linear perspective.
Yes.
What is, I suppose, or could be chosen to be a more challenging understanding, is that of how the past is not set and equally malleable.
Yes, but that's only because that's what you've been taught to think about the past. Doesn't mean that's the way it is. That's just the way you've been taught to look at it.
Right. And one of the most striking examples seems to be that of miracle healing.
Yes.
So someone has an irreversible ailment,
Yes.
and they come to a point where they experience that healing,
Yes.
and suddenly it vanishes, and they
Yes.
stand up out of the wheelchair
Yes.
or whatever.
Yes.
Because they shifted to a reality where it did not exist.
Exactly, and that means they are not the same person that had it. They've never had it. It goes that far. Do you understand?
Yes.
It's not that they're the same person and they no longer have it. They are a person who never has had it.
Right.
Therefore, it doesn't even show up anywhere in the timeline. Yes? Now, you can create the continuity if you want as an experience. Oh, yes, I used to have it and now I no longer have it. But in a sense, that's just wordplay. Because you actually are a new person who never had it. But you're maintaining a sense of continuity that you're the same person who let it go. That's just the way you need to experience it for yourself so that you can gauge that you have changed, that you have grown, that you have made something else happen. That's your way of knowing you've become a new person. You're just using language that makes it seem as if you're the same person when you're not. That's all.
Okay.
So it's the difference, as we say, between describing an experience and actually describing the mechanism that causes the experience. Big difference. Big difference. That's why many of your definitions are outdated, old-fashioned. You still think that the description, the old-fashioned, outdated description, is actually a description of the mechanism. It's often not at all. It's just a description of how you choose to experience it. But it may have nothing to do with how the mechanism that caused it actually works at all. Do you understand?
Right.
The simple example we often give is the concept you call telepathy, which we term telepathy. Most people on your planet go, oh, well, you can read my mind. No, you can't. What you're doing is creating a vibrational frequency that is so similar to the vibrational frequency of someone else. You're mirroring them so closely, you're having the same thoughts at the same time. The effect, the experience seems to be, you're reading my mind. But the mechanism is no such thing. The mechanism is you're simply on such a similar wavelength that you're having the same thoughts because only those thoughts are germane to that wavelength. Therefore, you're in sync with one another, having the same thoughts simultaneously, like two tuning forks vibrating in harmony. But the tuning forks aren't reading each other's minds. Do you understand?
Yes.
They are simply representing the vibration that represents that particular frequency. And that's it. So, description of the mechanism, very different than a description of the experience. Doesn't invalidate either, but it's important to tell the difference. Because when you just go with the idea of the description of the experience, you're reading my mind, it creates all sorts of misunderstandings and assumptions that don't work in your reality. The whole idea sometimes of your scientists attempting to test for psychic abilities like telepathy, they find many times that there's no evidence for it. Why? Because they're attempting to test the experience it doesn't tell them what the actual mechanism is behind it. Therefore, they're doing the wrong test. And of course, they find no evidence for it because they don't understand what it is. They have proven that the experience is not the mechanism. That's what they've proven by saying there's no evidence for this. That's all they've proven. But they haven't yet realized that the mechanism itself is completely different from the experience that they've just disproven is not the mechanism. Yes? Mm-hmm. Does that help?
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you kindly.
You are kindly welcome.
Hi.
Annie, you good day.
Hi. So I'm new, so...
You are? What, you were just born?
I mean, new to you.
Oh, all right. Then we must be new to you.
Yeah.
What a coincidence.
So I hope this question doesn't make you want to energetically smack me. I'm sure it's been asked many times before.
Well, if it does, then probably that would be a good thing for you.
Okay, maybe. I'm having these high-pitched frequencies that people have heard about on
Yes.
the internet, and I've read about it, but they're not stopping.
Yes.
And I've been doing a lot more meditation and opening up a lot more to a lot of things spiritually.
All right.
So they're kind of getting annoying, and I've
They're
asked.
getting in the way?
No, they're just like they're there, and they're kind of annoying sometimes.
Why are they annoying? What do you think?
High pitched noise in my ears.
Yes, so what? What is it preventing you from doing?
Nothing. But why are they there, and are they ever going to go away?
Yes, when you catch up to the frequency. When
So
you
what-
match the frequency.
Okay. So how do why are they there now, and what can I do to catch up faster? Because they are annoying to me a little bit.
All right. Do you remember what we just said about the idea of the formula of acting on your passion to the best you can with no insistence, no assumption about the outcome?
Yeah,
Are you doing that all the time?
I am.
Are you sure?
I mean, I'm acting on it big time. Yeah, I am. I'm starting a whole new company. I'm doing it. But it's work too, so
I beg your pardon?
there's also work involved.
So what?
No, I am acting on my passion. I really am. And that's
Are
when
you
this all
doing it in
started.
the most exciting way you could be doing it? That means no, because you hesitated.
I mean,
You see,
know,
when it's yes, there's no hesitation. So the fact that I asked that question and you hesitated means no. So what could you be doing, or what way could you be doing it that's more exciting than the way you're doing it?
I have to work a part-time job while I'm doing this, and I don't want to, but I have to.
Why do you have to?
Money.
Here it comes.
I just have to right now. I have to,
Do you understand
Just for a
that
little bit.
it's okay if that's true, but do you understand that this is your insistence?
It's just part-time, but
Here comes the smack.
oh, yeah, okay. That's fine.
You're
I
not
told you I'm
going to
new.
get away with this.
Okay.
Do you understand our definition of abundance?
I've heard it. You can.
Would you like to hear it again?
Yes, please.
Are you paying attention?
I am.
Are you sure?
Yes.
All right. Abundance is the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. Abundance can come in many forms. We understand on your planet, money is one of the symbols of abundance. Symbol of abundance. It's not abundance, it's a symbol of abundance. There are other symbols of abundance, other forms. Being given a gift freely is a form of abundance. Synchronicity is a form of abundance because it brings you what you need in perfect timing. When you relax your insistence that it should only come in one form because you, with your physical mind, have determined that that's the only way it will work for you in your life, you are closing the doors to the other ways abundance could come that might actually be a path of least resistance, might actually be more capable of supporting you than insisting on that symbol having to be there in a certain way, in a certain amount, at a certain time. You are putting so many restrictions and constrictions on the flow of energy through you, that it's no wonder and no surprise that those constrictions are causing the energy to create a frequency of resistance that you're hearing in your head. You're constricting your own flow. Too much. Now I understand you have the beliefs that say, I have to do this, I have to do that, and that's fine. I am not saying that you should not honor your belief. What I am saying is, recognize that it's only because of your belief that you experience the need to have to do it. And the more you are capable of taking whatever time you can take, you are willing to take, you feel comfortable taking, to act on your excitement, will allow, over whatever time you're comfortable for it to take, will allow your excitement to start proving to you it can support you, it can sustain you, it can propel you, it can expand you. And bit by bit, again, at whatever rate your belief system is comfortable with, you will start letting go of what you now insist you have to do and start doing what you need to do. Remember, it's not about what you want to do, it's about what you need to do. Is this making some sense?
Yes.
Is this helping?
Yes.
So the idea is to allow yourself to look at the ways in which you are choosing to do things based on what you think it must be because of the beliefs you have that are restrictive beliefs, and start relaxing them a little bit and looking around for different ways to perceive and define things so that you can do things in a way that are more in alignment with who you prefer to be, which will allow your energy to flow more easily, allow you to relax those constrictions, and diminish the resistance vibrations that you're experiencing that are translating into that pitch.
Okay.
Is this helping?
Yes. Can I ask one more question?
Yes.
I've been working with crystals a lot, and I know you have your crystals, and I haven't caught up in that area yet. But can you address crystals in general?
Yes. In general, they fall into the category of what we call permission slips. Permission slips are simply any tool, any technique, any ritual, or any object that, according to your belief system, will allow you to circumvent your belief system. Therefore, it allows you, with your belief system, to give yourself permission to change your belief system. But you're the one changing it. It's just that you believe that the permission slip will help you do it, and that's fine.
Okay, so these, like the quartz here and the sphere there, you don't think that energy, that
Of
crystals
course
hold
they
their
are
own?
energy. Of course they are reflective of consciousness. But what I'm saying is they are reflective of it. They're not causing it.
Okay.
They're reflective of what you yourself decide is true for yourself.
Got it. Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, last one really quick. Sorry. I've been seeing black crows like constantly in
Yes.
weird ways. It's very obvious that it's a sign. It's not just like
Synchronicity, yes.
constantly all the time. And I'm trying to figure out what does this mean? And it's like,
All right, well, there's a couple of ways you can look at the symbol. First of all, by not necessarily allowing yourself to really go with the flow, by experiencing this constriction. Remember, insistence equals resistance. Remember that formula. Insistence equals resistance. Yes? So by not relaxing that insistence, you're and by experiencing these things that seem to hold you back, that make you feel like it's holding you back, you're taking the path, well, I'll just put it this way, you're taking the path of death. Yes? So, what's a large group of crows called? A murder of crows. So, in one sense, the crows are showing you that you're taking the path of death. But on the flip side, also, crows are known for going, ooh, shiny. Ooh, shiny. And being fascinated by things that shine, that glitter, that glow, attracting their attention. So they're attempting, as a synchronistic symbol, to reflect to you, just focus on the light. Yes? That will move you forward and take you away from the need to constantly follow the path of death.
okay.
Does this help?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, Bashar.
And you, good day.
I was hoping you could speak on a recent experience, what I perceive to be my year.
What you perceive to be...
This year that I experienced.
Yes. All right.
So, it seems to be a lesson in darkness.
All right. And what would that be?